Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The bold and the beautiful B&B. Spoilers reveal that Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, could get suspicious after a major Forrester-related scandal breaks out. Remy Price, Christian Weissman, has released deep fake photos of Electra Forrester, Lania Grace, in the past, and is about to do it all over again. It looks like Remy may make sure these scandalous pics are tied to the jewelry line launch. That way, Electra's career will get tainted before she ever has a chance to truly get it off the ground in Los Angeles. Sure enough, Electra will get fired and most likely find herself wondering if she even belongs in LA anymore. It's easy to see Remy letting something slip to Sheila about how he may not be sticking around after all. Remy wants to get out of Los Angeles and possibly head to New York with Electra, at least in this delusional version of the future that lives in his head. At Il Giardino, Sheila might start asking questions about Electra and see just how obsessed Remy seems. Remy could open up about how he was the only one truly there for Electra when the first deep fake photo scandal happened. Perhaps Remy will downplay Electra's connection with Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, and argue that he's the one who needs to support her through the second photo scandal too. Sheila has carried out plenty of schemes, so she might end up suspecting that Remy set all this in motion. To satisfy her curiosity, Sheila might steal Remy's laptop out of his bag and do some snooping. What if Sheila finds proof that Remy is the source of Electra's doctored photos? What might Sheila do with that information? Sheila has committed far worse transgressions, but she's on a better path these days. It's possible Sheila would take Electra's side over Remy's and decide to tell her the truth. Sheila might hope it will score her some points with John Finnegan, Tanner Novlan, if she exposes a creep who's targeting a Forrester. Since Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline Massinswood, is fond of Electra, Sheila could at least earn a smidge of gratitude. Delivering this Remy news probably wouldn't improve Sheila's situation all that much, but she could keep chipping away at that terrible reputation of hers. Sheila might hope that if she pulls off enough good deeds, she might make enough progress to have a relationship with Finn and Hayes Forrester Finnegan, Alexander and Chase Banks. However, it's also possible Sheila could swing in a totally different direction if she blackmails Remy instead. Remy might swear he'll do anything if Sheila keeps his secret, so maybe Sheila could find some way to use him as her ally. Whatever the case, someone has to learn what Remy's hiding sooner or later. It would be fun if Sheila first made the discovery. So stick with us for more predictions on what's ahead on B&B. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Remy may have to make some emergency updates to his plot if things start falling apart, so stay tuned. Sheila Carter was never one to sit idly by. Her relentless determination and cunning instincts had made her a formidable force over the years on The Bold and the Beautiful. But this time, her obsession wasn't about romance or power. It was about revenge and redemption, and the stakes couldn't be higher. After weeks of turmoil involving doctored photos of Electra King that had been circulated online, Sheila had a suspicion. These photos, which falsely painted Electra as a manipulative and scheming socialite, had turned friends into enemies and threatened to unravel the lives of everyone at Forrester Creations. Sheila knew all too well the devastation a single lie could cause. She'd orchestrated plenty of them herself. But this time, she wasn't the perpetrator, and that fact infuriated her. Sheila's gut told her that the source of these photos wasn't as mysterious as it seemed. Her suspicions zeroed in on Remy Charles, a tech-savvy new hire at Forrester Creations. Remy had kept a low profile since joining the team, but something about his demeanor didn't sit right with Sheila. He was too charming, too perfect, and too eager to blend in. She'd seen this type before. People who hid their true intentions behind a polished facade. Late one evening, Sheila found herself lurking near Remy's office. The building was quiet, with only the hum of the air conditioning and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights filling the space. Most of the staff had left hours ago, leaving Sheila to prowl undisturbed. As she peered through the crack in the door, she saw Remy's laptop sitting unattended on his desk. The screen glowed faintly, indicating it was still on. Her heart raced. This was the opportunity she'd been waiting for. If Remy was behind the doctored photos, His laptop would hold the evidence she needed. Sheila glanced down the hallway, ensuring she was alone, before slipping inside. She sat in Remy's chair and wiggled the mouse. The screen flickered to life, revealing a login screen. "Of course, you'd have a password," she muttered under her breath. But Sheila wasn't one to be deterred by minor inconveniences. She prepared for this. From a pocket in her jacket, she pulled out a USB drive, loaded with a password-cracking program. After inserting it into the laptop, she waited as the program did its work. Minutes felt like hours as the progress bar inched forward. Finally, the laptop unlocked, revealing a cluttered desktop. Sheila's eyes scanned the screen, searching for anything that might lead her to the truth. She clicked through folders, her fingers trembling with a mix of adrenaline and trepidation. Then she saw it, a folder labeled Projects. Inside, she found a subfolder named Electra_King. Her breath caught in her throat. Opening the folder, she found dozens of files, photos, documents, and editing software logs. The timestamps on the files coincided perfectly with the time the doctored photos had surfaced. Sheila's eyes widened as she opened one of the image files. There it was, the original, unedited photo of Electra at a charity gala. Next to it was the doctored version that had caused so much chaos. The difference was stark, and the manipulation was undeniable. "Gotcha," Sheila whispered, a triumphant smirk curling her lips. But as she delved deeper, she discovered something even more shocking. Among the files was a chain of emails between Remy and an anonymous account. The messages discussed payment for the photos and detailed instructions on how to release them without drawing suspicion. Sheila's jaw clenched as she read the emails. Remy wasn't working alone. He was a pawn in a much larger game. Just as she was about to take a screenshot of the emails, she heard footsteps echoing down the hallway. Her heart pounded as she quickly closed the folders and ejected the USB drive. She just shoved it back into her pocket when the office door creaked open. Remy stood in the doorway, his expression shifting from surprise to suspicion. "Sheila," he said, his voice laced with disbelief. "What are you doing here?" Thinking quickly, Sheila plastered on a disarming smile. "Oh, Remy, I was just looking for some design files for tomorrow's presentation. Your name came up in the email chain, so I thought I'd check your computer. Hope you don't mind." Remy's eyes narrowed. "You should have asked me first. That's a breach of company policy." I know, Sheila said, waving a hand dismissively. "But it's late, and I didn't want to bother you. Besides, I didn't find anything useful." She stood and moved toward the door, her movements casual but deliberate. "I'll just leave you to it. See you tomorrow." Before Remy could respond, Sheila slipped past him and disappeared down the hallway. Her pulse thundered in her ears as she made her way to her car. She knew she'd narrowly avoided disaster, but she also knew she couldn't stop now. The evidence on Remy's laptop was damning, but it wasn't enough. She needed to uncover who was pulling the strings. Back at her apartment, Sheila plugged the USB drive into her own laptop and began analyzing the files she copied. The anonymous emails were her best lead. She traced the IP address of the sender, a task that required every ounce of her technical skill and a bit of help from a hacker she'd once blackmailed. The trail led her to an offshore server, but Sheila wasn't deterred. Hours of digging finally paid off when she uncovered the identity of the anonymous account holder. Her blood ran cold. The name on the account was none other than Deacon Sharp. Sheila sat back in her chair, her mind racing. Deacon had always been a wild card, but why would he target Electra? And why involve someone like Remy? The pieces of the puzzle didn't fit, but Sheila knew one thing for certain. Confronting Deacon would be dangerous. He was as cunning as she was, and if he'd gone to such lengths to hide his involvement, he wouldn't go down without a fight. The next day, Sheila arrived at Il Giardino, where she knew Deacon spent most of his time. She found him in the back office, going over invoices. He looked up as she entered, his expression neutral but wary. "Sheila," he said, leaning back in his chair. "To what do I owe the pleasure?" Sheila closed the door behind her and crossed her arms. "Cut the crap, Deacon. I know about the photos of Electra. I know you're behind them." Deacon's eyes narrowed, but he didn't deny it. "And what if I am?" he said, his tone challenging. "What are you going to do about it?" I'm going to expose you, Sheila said, her voice steady. Unless you tell me why you did it and who else is involved. Deacon laughed, a low, bitter sound. You think you got it all figured out, don't you? You have no idea what's really going on. Then enlighten me, Sheila shot back. For a moment, Deacon said nothing. Then he leaned forward, his expression deadly serious. Electra isn't who she says she is. Those photos, they're just the tip of the iceberg. If you knew what I knew, you'd be thanking me for taking her down. Sheila frowned, her resolve wavering. Was Deacon telling the truth, or was this just another manipulation? Either way, she couldn't trust him. You're going to come clean, Deacon, she said. And if you don't, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what you've done. Deacon's lips curled into a sinister smile. Good luck with that, Sheila. You're not the only one who knows how to play dirty. As Sheila left Il Giardino, she felt a sense of unease settle over her. She'd uncovered the truth about the doctored photos, but the mystery surrounding Electra was far from solved. And with Deacon involved, she knew the road ahead would be treacherous. But Sheila Carter had never backed down from a challenge, and she wasn't about to start now. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.